Thanks to a fierce Ukrainian resistance, Russia has been frustrated by its inability to capture any major cities so far, which is why more and more they've decided to just bomb those cities from the sky. Apartment complexes, hospitals, basically the less threatening the building, the more Russia wants to bomb it. And that has led to a fierce debate in the West over how to respond. Should NATO send Ukraine fighter jets? Should NATO enforce a no-fly zone over Ukraine? So far, the answers to both of those have been no, over fears that doing either would spark a direct conflict between NATO and Russia. But over the weekend, it was Russia edging everyone closer to direct conflict.
A war that many fear could spill into other countries has taken a dangerous turn, with Russia firing on a Ukrainian military base close to the Polish border and the NATO alliance. The sky turned red, witnesses say, when roughly 30 Russian missiles struck the Yavoriv training base in western Ukraine, leaving this smoldering crater. 35 people dead, and an escalation of the war now only a few miles from Poland, a key NATO ally. The base was routinely used by U.S. and NATO trainers over the years.
The attack came a day after Moscow warned it would try to destroy foreign shipments of weapons to Ukraine, calling them, quote, legitimate targets.
Yeah, believe it or not, for the first time, Russia bombed a military base very close to Poland's border, just 15 miles away, which definitely seems like a warning. I mean, 15 miles is basically nothing, according to my friend who can't stop telling me that he's training for a marathon. I get it, you run far. In fact, 15 miles is basically as close you can get to bombing Poland without actually hitting it, which means this missile strike was basically Russia going, oh, I wish a NATO would. And on top of that, Russia is also warning that it's not gonna just let the West keep sending weapons into Ukraine. It's gonna start attacking those shipments, which is scary, but I mean, of course, they want to stop those shipments from coming in. You know, NATO is sending Ukraine its most sophisticated weapons. Meanwhile, Russia is fighting with the equivalent of a flip phone. So, if you're a UPS guy who gets a package that looks like this, you might want to watch yourself. Now, both of these developments are concerning because, like I said, nobody wants World War III. We don't want it to start for any reason. I mean, America hasn't even defeated all the Nazis from the last World War. And like my mom always says, you can't have more until you finish what's on your plate. But while everyone is trying to keep the war from spilling into the rest of Europe, as it turns out, it might already be spilling into China.
We're learning this morning that Russia has asked China for military support and other aid for this invasion. That is really concerning for the West and could be a real blow to these Ukrainian forces if indeed this happens.
U.S. officials tell us it's true, and the White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan is traveling to Rome today to meet with Chinese officials, and he says he will warn them not to help Vladimir Putin.
We are communicating directly, privately to Beijing. We will not allow that to go forward and allow there to be a lifeline to Russia from these economic sanctions from any country anywhere in the world.
Okay, look, I can see why America doesn't want Russia teaming up with China. You know, that would be an unstoppable power couple, like Benefer, but with nukes. But getting tough on Russia is one thing. How does America plan to turn the screws on China? Hey, you better do what we say, or we won't let you sell us literally everything we need to survive anymore because we haven't made anything ourselves in 30 years. Shit, I bet America would sacrifice 3 or 4 states just to keep getting new iPhones. And whether China decides to help Russia or not, you've got to admit, this is embarrassing for Russia. I mean, think about it. They're not even, 3 weeks into this war? And they're already like, China, can you help us? We ran out of war stuff. It's like when you were a kid at the arcade and you used up all your tokens trying to beat the first level of a video game. Then you just got to walk around begging other people for their tokens. And then when that fails, you spend the rest of the party finger banging all the machines hoping someone left a token behind. You remember those days? But as Putin looks for the help on the battlefield, the fallout is also continuing to mount inside his own borders. Seemingly every day, Russia becomes more and more isolated from the rest of the world. They can't fly anywhere. They can't order anything off of Amazon. They can't even use Airbnb, which means now they have to film themselves going to the bathroom. And every day, the Russian people become more cut off from the truth about the war. All the independent media has been shut down. So the only thing that they have now is state TV. Although today, an anti-war message managed to slip on the air.
Provocative and courageous move from an anti-war protester in Russia. Watch her bold and brave act during a primetime broadcast on Russian state TV this evening.
Русским коллегой российский премьер подчеркнул, надо усилить сотрудничество в рамках союзного государства, а на совещании в правительстве обсуждали...
That sign reads in Russian, quote, "No war, stop the war, do not believe propaganda, they tell you lies here," unquote. The last line of the sign read, quote, "Russians against war," unquote. The program appeared to quickly cut away to video. At this hour, it's unclear what happened to this woman after her on-set protest. Russia, of course, does not allow freedom of speech.
Wow. That is either an incredibly brave protester or a very horrible cue card person. No, for real though, for real, that was actually an employee at that state TV channel, which is brave. It's one of the bravest things I've ever seen. Although knowing Russia's propaganda machine is probably going to find a way to like twist this whole thing. Yeah, they'll be like, you saw the sign, no war. There is no war. Everything is normal, all good. But this protest aside, it's almost impossible for Russians to get information from the outside world now. Even on the internet, there's no Facebook, there's no Twitter in Russia, and now there's no cat photos.
Instagram has gone dark in Russia. The country shut down the social media platform at midnight. Russian regulators gave people 48 hours to save all their photos and videos before the service ended.
So there's all these influencers in Russia with like 23 million something followers that are like sobbing and very upset that they're losing all their followers.
Reality TV star Olga Buzova posted this video of her crying and saying, "It feels like a big part of my heart, and my life is being taken away from me."
Yeah, if you thought being a Ukrainian refugee was bad, imagine being forced to pick up your whole life on Instagram and move it over to Cameo. That's tragic. I mean, for real though, Instagram shutting down in Russia does really affect people's lives. Because Instagram is used in a lot of ways. You know, yes, it makes influencers money, yes, but it also gives small businesses the opportunity to promote themselves. It lets people share important life updates with each other. You know, it lets creepy dudes tell women who are clearly porn bots that their ass is flames. It does a lot of things. But luckily for Russians going through Instagram withdrawal, Putin has come through again with a new app that I think is even better. Comrades, are you sad that Mother Russia has banned neo-Nazi Instagram? Well, do not worry, or we put you in jail. Now you do not need Instagram because Russia has new photo app, InstaVlad. InstaVlad is new Russia-approved way to waste time on toilet. Now you can show haters around the world you are still living best life. Does not matter if you can't fly anywhere and have no money. You are happy eating stew at home. And InstaVlad has all the best filters, so you can see what you look like if you had reason to smile. And with close comrade mode, your private pictures will only be visible to your best friends and also our secret police. And if you want sexy thoughts, we have the hottest one. Look at him, he's so sexy. Like and comment. Comment some more. You did not comment enough, now we put you in jail. InstaVlad, you know you like it.